The economy in Cities Skylines II has been completely overhauled, as we've learned from this week's feature highlight and Dev Diary Insight. So let me go through everything that they went through, and some of this is so layered that it might be a bit of a mind melter, but I do believe that once we get our hands on the game, it will make so much more sense. So the economy is based on real life, adding some complexity and built from the ground up. A system that they aimed to have that's complex but not complicated to use. The economy helps out new players and new cities early on with subsidies, which basically it's funding, and these will cease when the city becomes self-sufficient. Households receive government subsidies like unemployment benefits, financial aid, things like that. You have more control over taxes. It creates more variety in how businesses and citizens react to different things. Now, households, which they more refer to as people as a family, people living in certain aspects, they can all hold different age groups, like children, teens, adults, and seniors. And they have different preferences when spending money on what they want to buy. This was also touched on traffic and where they want to go. Similarly, with the economy side. When citizens look for a place to live, they look for how easily they have access to things like shopping locations, proximity of jobs and schools. The household size will also determine how the space they need, so people with children will need something a bit bigger like a detached house or the more spacey and big apartment buildings. Now, if citizens are too poor for a place and can't leave the city, they actually become homeless, and you can sometimes see them in your parks that you have dotted around. You still have your standard taxing of your residential, your industry, and your commercial, but you can also have levels of taxing, so you can tax things within industry like the electronics, the food, and vehicles. Obviously, there are so much more for a list, but that's just 3 examples. Within residential, you can also take it from an educational level if you absolutely want to. Or there's the basic of just the residential, commercial, and industry taxing like we're used to currently. Now, with a healthy economy, that also means jobs for citizens, and if it isn't as healthy, they will start actually doing a bit of firing of those, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. Industries take resources and then they turn them into goods that are shipped to companies who sell them to that end user. Now, some of these are shipped to outside connections, but shipping to outside connections will actually lose you profit. Industries want to be close to the source of the resources and where they send the goods. The smoother the process, the more profit you get. Although commercial want to be close to the industry where you get the goods to sell, their value is where the residentials are more. So the closer they are to a residential, or even in a residential, the better for them. Office companies, on the other hand, are another form of industry, as we know, but they don't produce that pollution. So they use electronics to make software, who send it to other offices who turn it into things like media, banking, and telecom. And these office towers now have hundreds of workers, just like IRL. They have reworked the amount of people that actually work in all these buildings. With all this taxing and finances, there is a balance between supply and demand. So businesses will do this automatically when exporting goods more than the demand of the market. Transport costs are also a factor and can reduce profit. And that goes back to my point of if you're sourcing your goods out of the city, it will cost you more just because of that transport cost. And as I touched on a minute ago, businesses can fire employees. It's all down to that overall economy of your city. If it's bad, they'll fire them and they'll reduce and scale down their production value. But if it goes the other way, and it's in healthy condition overall of the city, people are likely to bring on more people, increase and scale up the production of everything. And when there isn't enough of something to meet local demand, companies will buy from outside connections, again, reducing profit. And with that, you can influence things. So taxes can affect the production rate of some goods. If you wanted to lower production rate, you can do so. And with that, it slows that rate of production down. And if you lower the taxes, you'll increase that. So if you wanted more commercial buildings of a certain type of good, you can increase that by adjusting the taxes. Now, although there is the power to micromanage in Cities Skylines II, every single thing in the economy, which might overwhelm or complicate some people, you absolutely don't have to. But the option is there if you want to manage every single thing. Just like before, you can get raw materials from the city itself or from outside connections. Local production will need a specialized industry area, and there's going to be 9 total. So there's going to be livestock, grain, cotton, vegetables, timber, ore, stone, coal, and oil. And within these specialized industries, in order for them to work, you first place the hub building, and then you create an area where the hub building operates, which, if you've tuned into some of my previous videos, we've talked about the polygon tool for things like the landfill or districts, and that is the same tool that we're going to be using there. Now, these specialized industries, they can't go bankrupt like normal industry, but they adjust their production accordingly. They've also reworked the loan system, so it's one singular load, but its limit will increase as you unlock new milestones, and you can adjust that loan at any given time. As for each city service, they all have a budget just like before, has that parameter still, which affects the efficiency of each city service. But some of them, not all of them, will have what's called a service fee, and this will affect the citizens who use that city service. With everything that I've mentioned today, you can manage all this within that economy panel, and with that economy panel, there's a production tab, and you can see all the available resources, you can see how much money you have made, where productions are used, etc. And that is everything that we know about economy and production within Cities Skylines II. As always, let me know what your favorite thing about this week was. What piece of economy or production are you most excited for? Let me know in the comments section below. I'll be covering more Cities Skylines as we get more things week on and week off. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.